Well, welcome back to Dunkirk Dunes. So, I thought it might be fun to post some game recap um, type videos for this ongoing game that I'm not actually playing. I'm just doing a little bit of consulting, kind of giving suggestions to one of the sides on this game. But this is a game that's being played by monks, which is kind of fun and interesting, at a monastery in Massachusetts. Um, and I have my board set up to mirror as best as I can. Sometimes seems to be discrepancies between my board and the actual game board there at the monastery, but I thought it would just be fun to maybe post some recaps. So this is a game that's been going on for a very long time. They are currently in round 15, and this game actually started in August of 2022, so it's been going on for more than a year. They typically will play a couple hours or so, maybe a little less, whatever, typically on Sundays, and occasionally they might play additional day once in a while, but not that often. Usually it's just on Sundays for an hour and a half or a couple hours. And the fellow that I'm kind of helping with, his name is Brother Pius. Stephen Watson is his given name, but Pius Watson, he's a Benedictine monk, and I guess everyone there in that monastery, I suppose, is a Benedictine monk. But he's playing the Axis, and this is kind of how the board currently stands. And we're at the bottom of round 15. It's going to be the UK's turn, but I can just kind of give you a tour of the board here. There is a nice German fleet there that you can see in Sea Zone 91. Germany, on the top of round 15, had actually just taken Gibraltar. And on the US's turn, US made a kind of a gutsy, some would call it desperate move, and they got good rolls, and they ended up getting Gibraltar back. They have one artillery left there. So this is how the board kind of currently stands. You can see the Italians are here in Iraq. There's a little bit of a stalemate here between the British, who are in Persia, and of course the British are also there in Egypt. Russia has been interesting this game, and what you'll notice here is Moscow is more or less surrounded. Lots of German troops there, but there is this massive stack, if you can see it there, of Soviet troops in the Baltic states, and what we think they're doing is just making a beeline as fast as infantry troops can go. They only move one territory per turn, but we think they're headed for Berlin. They kind of gave up here on trying to defend Moscow. Moscow's probably going to fall on Germany turn 16. But kind of the real question is, can Germany prepare itself for this onslaught of, that's 83 Soviet infantry and 6 Soviet tanks and 6 Soviet artillery, and then there are also 3 Soviet fighters. They're in Belarus. There is a little follow-up force of UK troops there in Belarus that you see, with 6 infantry and 2 tanks and a mech and 2 artillery. There's these 5 fighters here in Moscow, which it's UK's turn right now, today, and what we suspect is those 5 Moscow fighters are going to be leaving because Moscow is likely going to fall. So, what it looks like is the Soviets and then UK are going to try to make a 1-2 punch on Berlin. And so Germany is doing all that they can to prepare before they get there. and we'll see if it's enough. We think that we'll have enough to hold it, but it's dice game, so it could go any which way, but I think we're going to be okay. So that's kind of what's going on the Europe side. This is also interesting. Japan has gotten down into South Africa. There's a Soviet sub there in 80. That's the one that survived throughout the whole game. Here's kind of what's going on in India. There's quite a stack of UK troops there in Calcutta. It's around 40 or 45 or so. But there is, of course, a growing Japanese presence there in Burma, a buildup, preparing to maybe take that out. The Pacific side of the board is kind of interesting as well. We've got currently Japan down here in Dutch New Guinea and New Guinea. Anzac has kind of turtled up here for now in Sydney, and on Japan's last turn they actually went down and took New Zealand. And Japan has a sizable fleet here in Carolines and a smaller fleet up here off the coast of Japan. What US did on their last turn is they consolidated their fleet into and around Hawaii, and they also built a new carrier here, carrier and destroyer off the coast of San Francisco. There's also this Anzac sub which has run away, trying to save itself here, which it's done so far, from the Japanese that have kind of pushed the Allies out, at least so far, in this area of the Pacific. And I'll just kind of give you the rest of the Soviet territories. So Japan has some units up there in Siberia and the Soviet Far East. You'll notice these territories here adjacent to Mongolia are German. This game's been going on 15 rounds, and the way it turned out was German. See that German tank and mech there up in Buryatia. They, over those turns, made their way across here through China and came up through Manchuria and have taken those territories, which has allowed the Axis to have those territories without activating Mongolia. There is a little Soviet force left here in Yenisei, 4 infantry, 2 anti-aircraft guns. There's a few Italian territories up here on the northern top of the Soviet map. No more Italian units up there, though. Those have kind of been killed, except for the AA gun there that you see in Vologda. Anyway, that's the board kind of as it stands right now, and we're ready for UK's turn. We'll see what they do, but I thought it might be fun to just post a recap of that when it happens. But this is just kind of an introduction of the game as it currently stands, so hope you enjoy following this, and it's been an interesting game so far. Thank you.